One of the biggest mysteries and theories about Hajime no Ippo is the idea that Takamura is blind in his right eye. It was first shown during Takamura's fight against Eagle, where it became very likely that he is completely blind, and this was built over an entire arc that for some reason was cut from the anime. Since the fight against Eagle, Takamura has had several title defenses, but it became clear that something was off with his vision, especially in his fights against Bison and Dragon. To better understand Takamura's blindness, we need to go over the arc that was cut from the anime, because I'm sure many of you skipped this part since it was removed, and you have only seen the Eagle fight in the anime. But the fight in the anime and the fight in the manga have a very different tone, and it's written much differently in the manga to help you understand Takamura's blindness better. After it was confirmed that Takamura would fight Eagle for the middleweight championship, he started saying strange things like how he only sees mosquitoes in his apartment at night and how it's annoying him. Ippo had a new spar with Imai after his fight against Takamura, and the two were evenly matched. Ippo's boyfriend Miyata also watched the spar since he was waiting for Takamura. Both of them were in a training camp, where Miyata was on the undercard for Takamura's world title match. Most of what happens in the camp is also shown in the manga. Takamura and Miyata train and spar together, but what's different in the manga compared to the anime is that after Miyata landed a punch on Takamura while the two were fishing, he couldn't believe Takamura didn't see it coming. Miyata couldn't believe it himself, that the world champion didn't see his punch coming, and he started to worry. He wanted to test Takamura during the mentioned spar to see if he was 100% okay. However, against a monster like Takamura, he couldn't do much and lost the spar in no time. Just like in the anime, Takamura showed Miyata how to properly use the counter, something Miyata had done incorrectly. He also gave him motivation and warned him that the world stage is a cool place, and that he needs to decide if he truly belongs there. Miyata's bad feeling came back because he knew that someone as selfish as Takamura will never normally take the time to act like a big brother to him. His doubts kept growing. Miyata called Ippo and told him that Takamura completely dismantled him in a spar. However, he had managed to hit Takamura in a blind spot. Still, Takamura brushed it off, saying Miyata's punch felt like a mosquito bite. That's when Miyata asked Ippo if Takamura had been acting strangely lately. Not just in a casual Takamura way, but truly out of character. Ippo said that he didn't notice anything strange about Takamura, but then he remembered that Takamura had mentioned seeing mosquitoes in his room. Suddenly, Ippo started piecing things together, but he wanted to be sure his suspicions weren't just desperation. He met up with Kumi to borrow a medical book where he read about symptoms of a detached retina. One of the symptoms was exactly that, seeing mosquito-like dots in the dark. If left untreated, it could lead to complete blindness. At first, Kumi thought Ippo was talking about his own eyesight. Then she asked if it was someone else, but Ippo yelled that it had nothing to do with her and nobody was suffering from it. Of course, this was just Ippo trying to cope with the fact that Takamura might really be affected, because it just made too much sense. Takamura gave up his first world title, the one he took from Hawk, as quickly as possible and wanted to move on to the next step in conquering 6 weight classes. But Ippo realized that Takamura might actually be blind. Just to be sure, he wanted professional help and met with Sanada since he studied medicine. Before Ippo could talk about Takamura, Sanada mentioned that Ippo's style had changed and that he hasn't been knocked down in the recent fights. That might seem incredible to some, going so long without getting knocked down, but Sanada added that Ippo now only throws straight punches and is getting hit by punches he would normally dodge. These are early symptoms of brain damage, and he asked Ippo if he was doing okay. Ippo replied that all the doctors said he was in top condition. And yeah, unfortunately, just like the milk on my wall, it aged really poorly. After that, Ippo wanted to ask about the detached retina without mentioning Takamura, and Sanada gave him an answer. The first symptoms are seeing mosquito-like spots, but additional symptoms include tunnel vision, or even worse, sometimes seeing nothing at all, only for the vision to suddenly return to normal as if nothing happened. However, if the damaged eye continues to take trauma, it can lead to complete blindness. If Ippo really wants to help Takamura, he has to be 100% sure that Takamura actually has a detached retina. Only then he can convince him to stop his career temporarily to get surgery. Ippo knew he had to confront Takamura, but he also wondered himself, what is Takamura even fighting for if it means risking his own life? He visited Takamura at his home, and at first he couldn't find the right words. But then he asked the ultimate question: can you see out of your right eye? Takamura asked what Ippo would do if he really was blind. Ippo said he will tell Coach Kamogawa and get his fight against Eagle postponed. Takamura quickly realized Miyata had told Ippo about the punch he landed and told Ippo to sit next to him, and then he just punched him. He shouted that of course you wouldn't see a punch coming from a blind spot. Then, to prove himself, he read the text from a boxing magazine from a distance with the eye in question. Ippo was relieved at first, thinking Takamura was still healthy, but it's shown that Takamura didn't tell the whole truth. During Takamura's fight against Eagle, Ippo told Miyata that everything was fine, but Miyata shouted back that Takamura could have easily faked it, that he probably memorized the magazine beforehand and tricked Ippo. But now it's too late, Takamura's fight has already begun. In the first round of the fight, Takamura couldn't do much and was pushed back before he could land anything meaningful before the round ended. In the second round, Takamura kept trying to throw punches, but David Eagle stayed calm and threw soft jabs at Takamura. These light hits started to make Takamura angry until he finally exploded with a heavy punch. That one hit snapped Takamura back into focus, and although he got pushed into the corner, he managed to regain his balance and started throwing heavy punches at Eagle. Takamura kept going like that into the third round, but Eagle countered him, and Takamura slowly collapsed to the ground. Still, Takamura kept throwing reckless punches, not realizing that this was part of Eagle's strategy. Stay calm and calculated while Takamura fights like a wild beast. But Eagle also knew if even one of Takamura's punches landed clean, he'd be going down. That's why he wanted to end the fight early without taking too much damage. Takamura then pretended to fall but grabbed onto Eagle to create a perfect opening, landing a powerful body blow. Now Takamura started breaking Eagle down completely and aimed to finish him off. But just as he went for the final punch, his fist got caught in the ropes, and the fourth round ended right there. In the next round, Takamura gave Eagle a brutal beating, but Eagle refused to go down. This was the first time in his life that he was facing a true challenge in boxing, and he made this goal to defeat Takamura no matter what it costs. That's when Takamura realized Eagle has the same kind of fighting spirit as Ippo. This fight was going to be a tough one. Then disaster struck. Takamura's left eye got caught and started bleeding badly. Now he was completely blind in his left eye. This was the perfect moment to confirm whether Takamura was truly blind in his right eye, because if he really couldn't see out of it, then Ippo and Miyata would have to stop the match. Takamura tried to protect his left eye because if it bled too much, the match would be stopped. However, Eagle didn't focus on Takamura's left eye since he wanted to win the fight fairly, without cheap tricks like a TKO. So he didn't target Takamura's eyes at all. In the next round, there was an accidental headbutt, and now Eagle started bleeding from the right eye too. Takamura took advantage of the situation and aimed only at Eagle's injured eye because he didn't care about the fair fight at all. He just wanted to steal the title. In the final round, Eagle also started targeting Takamura's bad eye, and both of them went all out in this match. Eagle began dominating Takamura, and Takamura was confused. He suddenly couldn't see from either eye. We saw that his right eye was now injured and swollen shut. Takamura was completely blind now and had no choice but to move purely on instinct. He started giving Eagle the Kamogawa special, a savage, brutal beating, until Kamogawa stopped him and Takamura won the match. Okay, we can be sure that Takamura's blindness didn't play a major role in this fight, but there are moments in other matches where Takamura watches from the crowd and closes his right eye to see better. It's never explicitly explained why he does that, but I think it's just Morikawa's way of foreshadowing that Takamura still had trouble seeing properly. And the biggest reason why Takamura might be blind is his weakness against left hooks. Left hooks are Takamura's kryptonite. He just can't see them coming and eats them every time. In his fight against Bison, where Bison had no other option but to throw left hooks, Takamura took those hits clean. Like he could barely see them, and Bison just kept spamming that move. Kamogawa even started wondering if Takamura might actually be blind, since he couldn't see those hooks. He even tested him holding up his fingers on Takamura's supposedly blind eye, and Takamura guessed the number correctly. Kamogawa confirmed both of his eyes were clearly fine. So then why can't he see left hooks if his his eyes are supposedly okay. Alright, the answer might sound a bit more confusing than it seems, but stay with me. I mentioned that Takamura's detached retina randomly gives his eye tunnel vision sometimes, and other times it seems like he's completely fine. During his fight against Bison, Takamura injured his right leg. After the injury, he suddenly couldn't see out of his right eye anymore, and when he sat down, the pain in his leg went away, and so did the blindness in his right eye. It makes very little sense, but with the information we have right now, it seems to correlate that if Takamura injures his leg, he also goes blind in his right eye. The reason I say this is because the same thing happened in his fight against Dragon. He injured his right leg and suddenly couldn't see parts coming from the right side anymore. Does that make any sense? Not at all, but based on what we know, that's the only explanation that adds up. We honestly just need more Takamura fights to really be sure whether he's actually blind. But the way his eye is drawn and the problem he's shown during his fights all point towards something being wrong with his right eye. We'll just have to wait for his upcoming fights to know for sure. If you've enjoyed this video, then please leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more Hajime no Ippo content. I'm the Reading Crow and thanks for watching.